Hello viewers, welcome you all to our channel. In today's video, we are going to learn how to build a Olympic podium or a leaderboard in Excel. This is going to be a bit long video. I am going to take little more time, but at the end of this video, you will be learning many new concepts as well as few advanced concepts as well. So I request you all to please stay connected till the end of the video. And if you face any doubts or if you have any queries, please post them in the comment section. I'll be replying back to you. So now let's jump into the topic. So today's objective is to build a Olympic podium for top 5 sales. So here I have a sales report of European Union. So it mainly contains city, quarter, and then quarter wise sales. So here it contains all the European based cities, and their the sales happened at each city during each quarter. So that's the data is about. Now we are going to build a dynamic Olympic podium that will help us to find out the top performers in each quarter. So let's go ahead and start doing this now. So I have the table here. Now first let me go ahead and rename this table. Okay, so my table name is EU sales. Maybe for this example, for your benefit, I will pin this menu bar. Normally I don't have this menu bar pinned, so but for your convenience, let me pin this menu bar. So my table name is my main table name is EU sales. Now let's move towards the step 1, that is sort the countries based on their report, that is in focus. Now here the formula that we are going to use, so I will be writing the formulas as well in the next column. So let me change the color, let me add borders. Right, so in order to sort this, I am going to use sort by. So this is the formula I am going to use. This involves dynamic array, so I will show you how this works. Now let us sort the cities based on their quarterly 1 sales. Okay, so this is how the formula goes. Sort by which array needs to be sorted, that's the city. So we are going to sort the city based on their quarterly 1 sales. Right, so here it is. Now let's see the result. It says that Madrid is the top performer. Let's check the Madrid scores. Okay, that's 1. I think it has actually sorted this in the ascending order, but what we need is the descending order. Now let's add the okay, here we have the third argument, that is -1 means descending order. So let me add this and then okay, so now I got the result as Vienna. So let me check the Vienna scores. Yeah, Vienna is the top performer with 48 millions. So and the next performer is Stockholm, that's again 48, and then Berlin, that's 46. Right, so now we got the city sequence exactly in the same order which we need. Now so the first part is almost done, and now we are going to build a table. So we are going to place top 5 countries in the separate table. Now I will show you how to build this table. Before that, so we are also going to so this second one, so here actually we have a hard-coded column, that is Q1 sales, but this is going to be dynamic. Our objective is we have to generate the dynamic list. So we are also going to change this into a dynamic value. I will show you how to do that. Right, so now we are done with the list. What we need is we just need the top 5. So I will show you how to pick the top 1. So here we are going to use the formula index array, it's going to be this this array, comma, and row number, it's going to be 1. So just check what happens if we execute this formula. Yeah, we got the value as Vienna. So we are going to use so the index function in order to pick the each entry. So same way, if we apply the formula here with value as 2, it's stock. So now here we need to make even these values as dynamic, 1, 2. So we have to make these values as dynamic. So let's see how to do this. Now there is a formula called rows in the Excel, rows. Okay, so this formula is mainly used this rows formula is mainly used to give you the number between two cells. Now I am going to refer the same cell. So now my cell name is, I think that's H7 to H7. So this actually gives you the value as 1. See, we got the value as Vienna. So now let's debug this. It gives you the value as 1. Okay, right. So the shortcut that I have used to debug that is F9. So when you press F9, it shows the end result. Undo that. Okay, Control Z. Now you get the value as Vienna. Same way, we have to apply the formula here as, so it's not H8 to H8, but it's H7 to H8. H7 to H8. So it considers, so actually H7 is this, the Vienna cell, and then H8 is the next one. So the difference between these two cells is 2. Okay, I mean the range includes 2 cells. Now if we have to drag this formula, we have to use the locking concept. So here we are going to lock this as the starting reference, this H7. So start from H7, whereas so this is starting reference and then this is the ending reference, H7 to H7. We are going to lock the starting reference, but the ending reference is going to be dynamic. So I'll show you how to do that. Press F4. That gives you $H$7, which means that your starting reference is going to be the same value, right? So now this keeps giving you, right? Okay, here we got the error. That's because even my this value also changed from G7 to G8, which is incorrect. Now I'm going to lock this as well. F4, again I am going to press F4. Alright, so we got it. Now let me drag this till 5. Okay, cool. So we got Vienna, Stockholm, Berlin, Oslo and Budapest. Now we know how to do the sorting, and then we know how to pick the top 5 from the sorted list. Okay, so this is the trick. I mean, this what we are going to use for the phase 1. Now I'll show you how to do this. Come on. Index. So we have learned 2 formulas as part of this step 1, sort by and index. Also we have learned the rows formula. So as I have mentioned, this is a bit advanced. This involves bit advanced technique. So please, if you try this once or twice, you will feel much comfortable with this. Right, now our step 2. So we are actually done with the step 1, and now our step 2 is place top 5 countries in a separate table. Right, so let's see how to do that. Now I am going to build a table that's going to change dynamically. So I'll show you how to do this. Now let us pick the table like this, position, and then just add. Okay, let me at least, maybe not to avoid confusion, let me move them here. Position, so it's going to be position 1, position 2. Let's see if my series fills automatically. 3, 4, 5. Okay, I got 5 positions here. And on the top we are again going to add all the quarter values, Q1 sales, Q2 sales. So these are actually headers of the EU sales table. So I'll show you how to do that. EU sales, so that actually refers to the table, and then go for headers. Now let's see what happens. So that actually gives you all the headers in the same sequence. That's actually cool. Alright, so but we don't need the first header, so let's exclude this first one. We don't need all the headers, but what we need is we just need the values from this to this. Oh, okay. Let me just okay, EU sales, right. So I think now it should work. Cool. So we got the values. Q1 sales, Q2 sales, Q3, Q4. This is actually dynamic array, and all these are hard-coded values. Let me group them all using borders. It will look like a table actually, but actually it's not a table. This part is made up of dynamic array, and this part is made up of static values. Now we are going to, so here we have seen something. Now we are going to place this values into all these cells. Okay, so here we have these cells. Now we are going to place these values. Now I'll show you how to do that. The formula that we are going to use now is the same sort by formula, but with slight modifications. I will show you how to do that. Sort by, we are going to sort EU sales, cities, city or quarter. We are going to sort that, and then by Q1 sales. Now instead of going to mentioning the Q1 sales as direct way, we are going to use alternate approach. This is going to be dynamic approach. I'm going to use the formula indirect, then EU sales, open bracket, and then close, and then let me choose this cell, then let me choose this. Alright, and then close bracket. I hope this should be fine. Alright, so that's it, comma, in the descending order. Alright, so yeah, that works. Super, that works like a charm. Now let's apply the index formula on top of this. Index, so I'm going to pass this array. So I'm passing this array as the first. See, this is array. I'm going to pass this as my first argument, and my second argument is going to be, as I have mentioned already, rows of here it is K8. K8, the cell reference is K8. Let me log this. F4 K8 to K8. Right, and then that's it. Okay, superb. So we got Vienna. Now okay, that fails. So what should have been done? What went wrong? Because here we have actually marked K7, that is Q1 sales, but when I have applied the same formula to the next cells, it shifted the reference as well from K7 to K8, K9, which should not happen. So we are going to lock the row number. Okay, so let me lock a row number here. Instead of marking that as K7, I mark that as $7. Now let me apply this formula. Let's see what comes. Okay, so we got the result. That's really good. Now, but we are going to move this formula to the adjacent cells. Now let's see how this works. Now let me copy this formula. Let me place it here, and I have got London. Alright, so let's see what happened. I'll show you another method. Let's see what happens if I drag this formula. When I drag this formula, again it got broken, so something got changed. So what actually happened is, let's see what it is. I got the value from this for Q1 sales instead of the city or country. So if you look into the formula for the first Q1 sales, it says sort by U sales, city or quarter. When it comes to Q2 sales, it moved to sort by Q1 sales, which is incorrect, and that should be city or quarter. So how can we do that? Now again I am going to use the same locking technique. I am going to lock this column. So every time, even if I drag this formula anywhere, it's going to lock this city or quarter for all the references. Alright, so I think that should do the part. Now let me drag this formula. Alright, so now I got the value as London. Okay, so London has the top performance for Q2 sales. Let's verify that. Let's burn I think I missed the London. Yeah, here it is, 49. So London has the top performance for Q2 sales. That's all right. And then so let me apply this formula. Right now I'll also teach you another technique, how to so let's try this, how to apply the same formula in all the range of cells. So let me select this range. Let me go to the first occurrence of this formula, that is for the Q1 sales. Now let us press Control Enter instead of Enter. Let me press Control Enter. So I think that has actually applied the formula everywhere. So let's check for the Q3 sales. We need to know if that's Dublin. Q3, yes, Dublin is the top performer. Again, then Madrid, Manchester. Madrid 44, and then Manchester 44. Yes, so that's the trick. So I think we are actually done with the step 2 as well. We have built a separate table, and the formulas that we have learned here are indirect, and then let's see what else we have learned here. Index we have learned already. It's indirect, but point is, even though we say that's just indirect, that's quite tricky formula. So you need to know this syntax by heart. Okay, so now we have this table which contains the top 5 position for each quarters. Now we are into the last our last criteria, that's to build the podium. So I'll show you how to do that. In order to build the podium, now we are going to, so let me remove this. These two columns are actually not required for me and they are disturbing. Now in order to build the podium, we need a drop down value. So I'm going to build my drop down like this. Select quarter. That's a typo. So I have a label called select quarter. Let me just color this, and then let me add a drop down value here, and drop down value should be the quarter values. So here we have the quarter values, and so it starts actually from K7. Okay, so the K7 has all the quarter values, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, the quarter names. Okay, so now I am going to create a name for this quarter values. Name manager, new name. Let me name this as quarters, and let me select, instead of selecting this one cell, we have to select hash. If we select hash, that will actually give you all the quarter names. Now let us close this. Now let me go to data and apply data validation here. List, press F3. You must be able to see this value quarters here. So that's it, we got the drop down as well ready. If you want to know more about this techniques, I have already made a video on this data validation, which might be helpful for you. So go ahead with that. Thank you. Now let's see how to. So now I got the drop down, and let's do one more thing. Now let me give a name to this particular. Now let me give a name to this particular cell. Formulas, name manager. Let me go and define name. Selected quarter, and the value is going to be this particular cell. So we are going to call this particular cell, and that's J14, as selected quarter, because it contains all the quarter values. Right. I'll show you where this will be useful for you. Now let's start building. So now let's start looking into the another formula. That formula is called offset. So let me mark it here. Offset. Okay, so this offset formula is mainly used to traverse an array. So it takes a starting point, and from that particular starting point it travels around the array and picks the value which you are looking for. Now my starting point is J7, that is the position. So this is my starting point. From here, in order to know the position 1 of Q1 sales, I need to travel one cell down and then travel one cell right to find the right value, and then I have to pick this value as Vienna. Okay, now let's see how to do that. I'll show you one example, then later on we can go ahead and start building the podium. So starting reference, it's going to be J7. Okay, again let us log this. Comma, number of rows you need to travel. So let's mark it as 1, and then let's mark number of columns as well 1. So let's see what we get. So we get where the value is Vienna. Okay, so it has actually started from J7, it moved down by one row, and then it moved right by one column, and then it has actually picked the value where this 2 meets, Q1 sales and position 1 meets at Vienna. So it goes to that cell and picks the value. So now let's see what comes if we change the column to 2. I think that's column number. Okay, it moved on to Q2 sales. Now let me move this as well to Barcelona. So idea is simple. So you have one starting point, you mention number of columns to be moved, and then you mention number of rows to be moved. Based on that you will get the meeting value. Okay, right. Now again we are going to make this formula very much dynamic. So so let's try that. Let's try making the first part as dynamic. Now we need to find the first position of Q1 sales. So let me select quarter as Q1 sales here. Now let us find the position 1 of Q1 sales. Alright, so here it is. Now let me go in. First one, we have to find the number of columns to be moved. Match. Which value needs to be looked up? Position 1. And then match with which array? Let me match that with this array. And then comma, match type, it should be exact match. Okay, and then let me just modify this to Stockholm. We got the value as Stockholm, but actually we were looking for the value as Vienna. That's because we have started from J7. So 1 2. Okay, now let me just map this to J8. Alright, so we got the values. Now let me log this. Okay, J8 to J12. So while moving from J8 to J12, the place where the position 1 is, so that's actually Vienna. Position 1 occurs at the first place. Okay, that gives you the value as 1. And then again column number 1 is Vienna. Now so we are going to make we are going to make it even more dynamic. I'll show you how to do that, but meanwhile let's also move the match, the column as well, to be more dynamic. Match which column? Okay, we need to check for either for Q1 sales or Q2 sales. So let me choose the value as selected quarter. So selected quarter means it is nothing but this J14, that's Q1 sales. Comma, in which array you need to look that for? You need to look that for in K7. Okay, sorry, it's K7. Let me log this K7 hash. Okay, so we need to look for the exact match. So that gives you the same value as Vienna. It is very much similar to the formula, offset formula, with the arguments 1, 1. But we have actually made this even more dynamic. So this returns 1 and this returns 1. Now let's just check what happens if we move the names to Q2 sales, Q3 sales. So that gives you the dynamic nature. Now we also need to change this from position 1 to little more dynamic way. I'll show you how to do that when building the podium. So now we have the values and the formula ready. Now let us start building the podium. Okay, so now I am going to merge the cells. Alt H M C. This is one of my favorite shortcut. Alt HMC, and then all right. So we got so even though it doesn't you may not if you are not able to see that, since it is a merged cell. Now let me add the I'll start adding this colors for these cells, and you will be able to understand that. Okay, so now let me give some values to them. 5. So now we are going to stop the position 5 here. We are going to display position 5 here, 5, and then here we are going to have 4. Let me maybe we can reapply the format later. Then 3 here, 2 here, and then 1. Alright, so now let us apply the format. Again a trick, double click on the format painter. It will not disappear in just one click. It will stay until you go back and click on the format painter. Now we got these values. Now I am going to apply this values here. This is for position 1. Alright, so now we got the values doubling. Maybe we can apply it even here. So now you got the values doubling. Now we have one last thing to do, that is we should not hardcode the values 1 here. Instead, just I'll show you how to do this. Go for another formula, concat position space comma text 2, that is instead of value 1 I am going to refer to this K20. So actually that gives me again the value as 1. Now let us copy this. Here instead of K20 give K26, sorry, I26 colon, and then instead of K20 we must give J23 Manchester. So just let us quickly check if that's really right. Dublin first place, 3 and 5. That's for Q3. Dublin, and then 3 is Manchester, and then Cologne. Yeah, that's right. Now let's move for Q1 also. It's Vienna, Berlin, and Budapest. We're expected to see Vienna, Berlin, and Budapest. So that's great. Our formula is working. Just copy this formula and then put it again here as well. It's L23. Excellent. So it is M26. That's great. So that we are actually completely with the Podium. This is actually the skeleton of Podium. Now let us start beautifying our Podium. Now these are actually just the cells. So cells may just to a certain extent cells can give a pleasing appearance. Now we are going to insert the shapes in all these places. Now let's go for shapes. Let us put the shapes into these cells. Alright, so that's great. Now let's add some effect to this. Effect, bevel. Yeah, that's great. Then let's add some text to this. I think that's 5. Yeah. Now place it in the center and increase the font size, so that makes it even more distinct that this position is for 5th. Same way, let us copy and paste it here. In order to resize, so one suggestion from my side is, in order to resize these shapes to exactly to the cell width and size. Press Alt button and then resize them. Now let us copy this and then paste it here. Let me press Alt and resize it on the either side. Alright, so here we will change all the values later, but just copy, paste, press Alt and resize. Great. Now the final one. Now press Alt and resize. Okay, that's great. So now let us modify the text. 1, 3, 2, 5, and here we have 4. Great. Now let us put all these values as well in the center. Let's give them center alignment. Okay, that's great. Now this actually gives you a feel like something is missing. I'll show you what next can be done. Insert a big rectangle. Right, so again, as I mentioned, Alt and then resize. Now let us format this shape and give it almost 80% of transparency. Excellent. Now let us fill this to gray. Now let us also give a different color, and then also let's put it back, send backward, send one more level back. So that has been sent. Okay, send it to the end. So now again the podium comes before, and let's give different shape to these podiums. Maybe silver might not look so good, so let's go for green, and then here let's go for golden color. We already have gold, so that gives you a good picture on what needs to be done. And then let me just resize this. Alright, so now it's perfect. Okay, so now let us keep them together. So it asks you to select the quarter, and then you keep getting the values in a dynamic way. Okay, so that's it. That's I think I was super excited to redo this video, but let's again revisit and check what are the formulas we have learned in the final step. We have learned the formula, offset formula, and then let's see what else we have learned. And then we have learned concat and match formula, offset and match. Match is another important formula. Match. Okay, so I think we have almost used 6 major formulas to build this dynamic Olympic podium. So I think I'll show you another example where I have already built this. I think even this looks much more better in terms of appearance. Okay, I think I should have done this way. So that gives a better appearance instead of hanging podium. Right, so that's better. I hope you would have enjoyed this. I know it's a bit lengthy video, but in case if you try this once or twice, this really gives you a much better hands-on on all these formulas. And believe me, these formulas are a bit tricky and advanced in nature, but once you learn these formulas and all the tricks which I have mentioned, you can definitely expertise Excel in another few days. Okay, so thanks for watching. Stay connected. See you soon in the next video. Please subscribe the channel. Thank you.